Hello, let me check in with the first 15 chapters of Johnny Appleseed by Joshua Whitehead, a gay or two-spirited indigiqueer writer, writing about a two-spirited indigiqueer character, Johnny, who gets the name Johnny Appleseed from rather cruel classmates at his school. Um, he's, I think, in the present day of the work, he is working as a sex worker in Winnipeg. He has left the reservation, but we kind of jump back and forth between the two. He finds out that his stepfather has died, and not that he actually cared about, in a way, his homophobic, asshole, violent, abusive stepfather, but he did make his mother happy. Not quite sure why. So he's going back to be with her and to actually also hook up with, not hook up, to see his grandmother, Kukum. That's the kind of the like Nana or something like that. It seems to be Kukum, and it's he's last he talked time he talked to her, I think he came out to her on the phone, and he was crying, and she's like, are you finished crying? It's like, of course I knew you were gay. It's like, that's why I gave you the earrings. I told you it was for like an art project. It's like, I'm old, I'm not simple. um and It's like, look, next time you're here, come tell me, because I need to tell you about your ancestors. I need to tell you about where you came from. I need to tell you a story. So there's that. It's a very explicit book. I think it opens with him jacking off to, I can't remember what he's jacking off to. Something. Uh, it's at the start of the book, and I can't remember anymore. But like, he basically, he's like, I'm not like a horror. I'm someone who creates fantasies for his customers. A lot of his customers are looking for the stereotypical kind of war paint Indian. That is definitely one of them. Um, and I mean, it's interesting. I mean, he talks about how, like, um, in the white gay community in Winnipeg, he has to kind of he tries to conceal his native ancestry because he doesn't want to get drawn into fucking yet more kind of conversation about that kind of stuff having to be the symbol or explain or all that kind of bullshit. And whereas back in the reservation, he had to he had to conceal his gayness because there's yes, ton of homophobia there. Um, so we've got the kind of the two sides of things. Um, it does have kind of poetic flashes, which I'm not quite sure how I feel about them. They're little curly cues on what's fairly good good prose. Um, it is kind of bouncing back and forth. We're starting to kind of pick up speed with, okay, he's got to get money to get back to the reservation, so there's sort of a plot there. Um, it's it uses kind of cultural reference stuff, like the X-Men get mentioned, various things like that is kind of peppered through, which I'm fine with because that's my culture in a way. Ah. So yeah, that's how much of what I have so far. It's interesting in that, um, how you pair books together, because um, this was a part of Canada Reads, and indeed this came out and won Canada Reads, and it's interesting looking at a book like this, which very much feels like a first novel kind of thing. And then something like Butter Honey Pig Bread, which is like, wow, that is like an amazing book. So I'm trying not to kind of hold them up as reference points, because they're two totally different things, two totally different beasts. Um, and there's different reasons why people pick stuff, and it's not always just sort of the literary the literary stuff with that. But yeah, yeah, that is first 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 15 chapters of Johnny Appleseed by Joshua Whitehead, read by the author, who is less of a reader, I would say, than less of a performer so far than either Bina by Anakina Schofield, or the other book, or Anne Enright and her more beautiful reading of Actress. But that's kind of like very high bar. It's interesting. I'm getting a lot of books read by the author, which I don't know if that is a cost saving thing or a thing that they'd like, that the author's like, hey, I want to do this, kind of that sort of thing. But yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a serviceable reading. I'll give it that. It's service, and it's not. He's not dramatizing his. It's authors don't dramatize their books because they actually allow the words to speak for themselves, which I really appreciate. So that said, even if it is a bit flatter of a reading, I'm all for flat, actually. Then I can add my own inflections. All right, more videos later.